punch power, you know. You know what, it takes a lot more than that to be a great fighter. A lot more than that to be a great fighter, so there's various ways I'll win. But I got the fighter spirit, and that's how I'll go in there and break him down with my spirit.
So after this.
But he can't though. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's not even equipped to fight this dude. He's not. It's going to have to be a bunch of stuff in there. Joshua will punish this man.
It's impossible for somebody like Anthony Joshua, who is so big and so strong, to even think he's going to take it easy. Because even if he tries to take it easy, he's so powerful, so strong that even those punches that are being easy are still going to.
At the press conference, Anthony Joshua issued a blunt warning to Jake Paul, calling him delusional for believing he can defeat a former unified heavyweight champion. Joshua didn't sugarcoat anything. He stated openly that he views this fight as a business move, a high-paying opportunity rather than a competitive threat. But at the same time, he stressed that once the bell rings, none of that matters. Inside the ring, he reminded everyone he remains levels above Paul in skill, experience, and physical ability. His message was simple: Jake Paul may talk confidently, but Joshua intends to show the world the real difference between a seasoned heavyweight and a YouTube-era boxer.
I deliver what I was supposed to deliver years ago. I deliver what they ran from. I deliver what he asked for $50 million for. I'm gonna give him a $50 million knockout.
I honestly listen to what people say sometimes. They're avoided, this person's running. I honestly think some people are deluded. Really, I do think that they've got some sort of a long-term concussion, because no one's running. In terms of 50 million, I'm a businessman. If there was 50 million on...
Chris Algieri explains that this fight is perfectly timed for Anthony Joshua. After a stretch of inactivity and the sting of his recent loss, Joshua needs a controlled environment to regain rhythm, confidence, and fluidity. According to Algieri, Jake Paul provides exactly that. The matchup allows Joshua to secure a massive payday while taking minimal risk, almost like a high-level sparring session where Joshua can work on timing, balance, and ring IQ without facing the threat presented by elite heavyweights. Algieri emphasizes that this fight benefits Joshua financially, mentally, and physically, making it a strategic comeback move designed to reset his momentum.
What are we talking here? Like, it's gonna be an exhibition? No, it's a fight. You're a heavyweight. You're calling out heavyweights. You're calling out a heavyweight. You're calling out Anthony Joshua, former world champion. You're calling him out on short notice. It's a fight. You're gonna wear 10-ounce gloves and you're gonna fight 10 rounds, and that's what it is. I don't understand any idea of anything else. Oh, it's gonna be 8-2s. Is it gonna be 15-ounce gloves? What the hell are we doing? This is boxing. You want to fight a real guy? You're fighting a real guy, which I am very respectful. And I respect the hell out of Jake Paul if he does step in the ring with Anthony Joshua, no matter what happens. Kid's got balls of steel, and I applaud you.
Well, the reason I say we don't know yet, because Jake Paul has fought in it. His last fight with Gervonta Davis was going to be an exhibition. They had to do that because of the weight difference. This is still a weight difference here. I mean, Anthony
No,
Joshua,
there's not. No, it's not. It's heavyweight. It's the same weight class.
Well, what do you consider Jake Paul? Cruiserweight or a heavyweight?
Heavyweight. How much did he weigh his last fight?
He's fought at cruiserweight. He's also fought at heavyweight. Against Tyson was at heavyweight.
What was his last fight? He's a cruiser. He's a heavyweight.
What was
he
his
was
last
too.
fight?
It was
His last
Mike
fight was
Tyson.
at cruiser against Chavez. Whatever, you know what I mean. Like the reason Gervonta Davis fight.
He fought Chavez after Tyson. I guess Tyson was that long ago. Wow.
That was a year ago. This week, I was looking at my Instagram memories. I was in Dallas, Texas, getting ready for me pooping my pants on Netflix. That was about a year ago. Exhibition. These are questions that are asked. These are questions that are attached.
Eddie Hearn clarifies that Joshua is indeed seriously interested in facing Jake Paul, but planning the fight requires caution due to Paul's unpredictable history. Hearn notes that Jake has cancelled or delayed fights several times in the past, often at the last minute, which complicates training schedules and promotional commitments. Because of this, Joshua's camp is staying flexible, preparing for all scenarios without relying too heavily on fixed timelines. Despite the uncertainty, Hearn admits that this fight could deliver one of the biggest financial payouts of Joshua's career. But he warns that excitement must be balanced with strategic patience. Protecting Joshua's career, maintaining discipline, and minimizing disruptions will be the priority as they navigate Paul's unpredictable tendencies while still trying to secure the massive opportunity the fight presents.
Paul news seemed to come to a surprise for many. How close are we to making that fight, Eddie?
Not that close. I mean, there are conversations. There's a lot of hurdles to overcome. But if he's serious about the fight, and if it can get made, there's a very good chance we'll do it.
Is it on Netflix, and what did DAZN have to say of the fact that it might?
One of the hurdles to overcome. But we were going to have an 8-round run out in December. Just so happens it might be against Jake Paul.
Have you spoke to Nikisa? I know you're not friends with him. What are the conversations you've had?
That's who we're talking about, you know. And if they're serious, and if it's real, there's a good chance. But listen, we could wake up tomorrow and he's announced another opponent and he just used AJ's name for clout. Listen, I have to respect him if he takes the fight, but who knows?
What do you think Dana White will make of this fight?
I mean, he did Mayweather against McGregor. He doesn't like Jake Paul. I really couldn't care less what he thinks about the fight. AJ's going to make close to or around a career high payday, and we'll take.
Paulie Malignaggi stresses that Anthony Joshua will treat this matchup with full seriousness, exhibition or not. He explains that Joshua has never underestimated any opponent. For him, stepping into a ring means showing discipline, using refined technique, and delivering punches with purpose. Malignaggi highlights Joshua's power, timing, and ring intelligence, warning that even slight mistakes from Jake Paul will be punished. Ryan Garcia also adds that even if Joshua decides to tone things down, his natural strength is so overwhelming that even controlled punches can cause real damage. Together, both analysts make it clear, Jake Paul is stepping into danger. This is not a show or a performance. Paul will have to bring strategy, composure, and resilience to survive a fighter who has spent years battling top-tier heavyweights capable of ending fights in seconds.
Bag now, and if you listen to this, it's definitely out of the bag.
Yeah, Fight for 84, big boxing movie that's hitting Netflix soon about the Olympic 84 team starring Jamie Foxx and Chris Algieri.
I am not starring in anything, but whatever. Yeah, no, I got a credit. I'm in it. I got some lines. So
That's amazing. That is so cool. I mean, this couldn't get any cooler. You're now in the movie, which is absolutely absurd.
yeah,
What a day.
hopefully,
What a life.
hopefully, maybe there'll be more of this. Who knows?
I think it's just the beginning. I think this podcast is numbered. Our days are numbered.
No way.
This guy's going to Hollywood.
I'm never letting this go, Dan. This is. I'm a ride or die.
I hope you get so big and become such a big actor that you are like delaying production because you have to film our podcast in your trailer.
Chris is in his trailer. Wait, he's got to finish his podcast with Dan.
They're like, who's Dan? It's Johnny Drama style.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, just
When he was
total,
on the set
total
for 5
diva.
minutes.
Just total diva in every way possible.
Yes. Like we said, this episode is brought to you by PPV.com. December 6th, we're going to see Pitbull Cruz versus Lamont Roach. And guess what? We're going to talk to Lamont Roach on this episode. I caught up with Lamont and to get his thoughts on the fight with Pitbull, to get his thoughts on Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua, which we're going to get to in a second, to get his thoughts on 140, potentially fighting at 135. That's coming up in just a little bit with Lamont Roach. Don't forget to order that fight with us at ppv.com and all the good stuff that comes along with that. That's December 6th. Lamont Roach is an awesome interview. Great guy.
Awesome guy. Forget the interview. He's just a good dude. I told you to tell him what's up. You probably did.
He said,
but-
what's up? He goes, where is he? I said, he's on a movie set. He goes, oh yeah, he's got those movie star looks.
See, that's what I get. But yeah, no, he's a good dude. We see him. He trains down in Florida now. He's over at the Pro Box TV training facility, so we get to see him down there training. He's whipping on all the guys over there. But good people, good dude. Good. His dad's awesome. His brother Jordan's great. He's another one to look out for. I think he's a flyweight? I think he's a flyweight coming up, or bantamweight. But yeah, great family, good boxing family, great boxing heritage.
Yeah, and I can't wait for that mega card. Big card December 6th, and he's the headliner. So we're going to get to him in a second. Some big news broke. Shocking news. According to Ring Magazine, Anthony Joshua is going to step in for Gervonta Davis and fight Jake Paul. We don't know yet if it's an exhibition. We don't know yet the rules set. We don't know the date. These are preliminary talks that are ongoing. Yes, I work for MVP.
Dave Allen rejects the idea that Joshua should avoid Jake Paul just because the matchup may appear entertainment-driven. He argues that Joshua is still in peak physical condition, fast, powerful, disciplined, unlike aging or retired fighters whom Jake has previously fought. Joshua still possesses every attribute required to dominate. Allen believes fans underestimate the seriousness behind such matchups, assuming they're only spectacles. In reality, Joshua's experience, athleticism, and heavyweight level strength make this extremely dangerous for Jake Paul. Allen points out the massive gap between public perception and actual risk. Casual viewers may think Paul is safe, but anyone who understands boxing knows that stepping in with Joshua demands absolute focus, respect, and preparation. This is not a circus fight, it's a real test against an elite athlete.
Of it was probably shouldn't be licensed, but Florida are very kind of easy commission to get. Yeah, it'd be called an exhibition. It probably
will be an exhibition.
It probably would be called an exhibition.
What's the point?
For me, as long as that fight you mentioned just now, Spencer, as long as that roadmap is there and it's signed, that he fights an interim guy as a warm-up afterwards and fights Tyson Fury next year and Fury's on board, I'm great with it. Otherwise, I do think his legacy's damaged if his last fight is with Jake Paul.
An exhibition is a waste of time. They're for retired fighters. For retired fighters, it's a load of rubbish.
Yeah, listen, the guy's still in his athletic prime. I personally don't see the reason why they can't just do the Tyson Fury fight. Why do we need interims?
Well, we all want that.
Yeah, but why do we need interims? Why do we need warm-ups? We're talking about two experienced guys who've been the best, as you just said, of the last 10, 20 years. Let's get the fight on.
It's as ridiculous as Gervonta Davis going in with him, basically, isn't it, with Jake Paul,
Quite
frankly?
different mindsets, and what, again, listening to Eddie today and what he was saying, the damage that Anthony Joshua has suffered mentally, not physically, because physically he's still all there, but mentally against Daniel Dubois, he needs to go through that process again. And they said that's just the whole getting your hands wrapped up, doing it, whether it's Jake Paul, whether it's a top 100 fighter, you go, that's the way Anthony Joshua ticks. He needs that before going into the... All roads lead to Fury, right? We all know that. Whether Fury...
Analysts note that Jake Paul is finally stepping into a fight against someone closer to his level in terms of current activity, but that doesn't mean the risk is low. Facing an active, powerful, and highly skilled heavyweight like Joshua brings dangers Jake has never experienced. While fans are excited to see Paul challenged properly, experts warn that the physical consequences could be severe. Joshua's timing, power, and technical ability far exceed anything Paul has encountered from older, slower, or retired fighters. The matchup may be competitive in terms of buzz and activity, but the physical gap remains enormous.
Maybe even bigger than the Mike Tyson fight. It's hard to say really. Tyson was a big name, but it's going to do numbers regardless because Joshua is a big name and then people are going to be tuning in to see Jake Paul get knocked out. Right now, Eddie Hearn talks about Jake Paul taking this Joshua fight.
I mean, my estimations of Jake Paul would go through the roof if he signed to fight Anthony Joshua, because I just can't believe in my mind that he would do something like that. I mean, Gervonta was a smart one because of his size. Like, you know, I think actually he would have had a lot of success against Jake Paul, but the size is a problem. But this would just be, you know, like if Jake Paul was to take the fight with AJ, you'd really have to maybe carry his balls in a wheelbarrow on the ring walk, you know, because that would be, because AJ wouldn't mess around in there, you know. So it would be huge, but nothing, you know, to tell you it's close, just a few conversations so far.
Damn right, if Jake Paul takes this fight, he's got some major balls on him. And I know people hate influencer boxing, but come on, he's not fighting an old, retired, past the prime MMA fighter. No, he's fighting a legit boxer who's massive, 6'5", 6'6", jacked, 240, 250 pounds, shredded, power puncher. Do we need to remind ourselves of what Joshua did to Francis Ngannou? Francis Ngannou was coming off a pretty good performance over Tyson Fury. He didn't get the win in that fight, but you could argue that he did actually win that fight. And Ngannou, throughout his entire MMA career, in 4-ounce gloves, very rarely got hit. He could take a punch. He's got a big, fat African head. Big, thick neck, traps, back. He just can't really be hit. And look what Joshua did to Ngannou. Out cold. So what do you think Joshua is going to do to Jake Paul? Jake Paul better start loading up on that trenbolone. He needs to start eating anavar like skin.
Analysts highlight that Joshua's credentials, Olympic gold medalist, former unified heavyweight champion, make him a fundamentally different type of opponent. Joshua reads fights in real time, adjusts instantly, and lands punches with machine-like precision. Jake Paul has never faced a fighter who can dissect mistakes this efficiently. One small lapse, one misjudged distance, one lazy jab and Joshua can capitalize with a fight-ending shot. This is the most dangerous opponent Paul has ever faced, both technically and physically.
Gold medalist, unified champion at the heavyweight division. He is 6'6", 250 pounds. And also, I do think.
Oh my God!
I do. No, Jake Paul 6'1" and about 220. I want to say this though. I think Anthony Joshua, he's made stupid money in his career, dumb money in his career. I don't think he's going to be in a position to be accepting BS terms with Jake Paul if this is really what's going to end up happening. I think we're actually going to get to see Jake Paul against a former heavyweight champion of the world. Do I think that's a smart idea? Absolutely not. For Jake Paul, do I think it would sell? Absolutely. Do I think it'd be very interesting and people would tune in to see if he gets his head knocked off? Absolutely. I genuinely hate to say it.
Experts emphasize that this fight is anything but casual. Joshua's physical attributes, reach, power, conditioning, give him overwhelming control of pace and distance. While Paul enters confidently, experts warn that underestimating a former world champion comes with serious consequences. Joshua's battles against top-tier heavyweights have sharpened his reflexes, timing, and defensive skill. Even against unconventional fighters, Joshua remains composed and dominant. For Paul, this is not just a test, it is the ultimate examination of whether he truly belongs in professional boxing at the highest level.
Probably sees Alexander Usyk, who's now the undisputed, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time now after beating all these guys. He was a smaller guy, went up, he's like 6'2", 6'3", about 200 pounds at first. Now he's probably sitting at about 220, 230. Similar size to Jake Paul. Went up and beat all these guys. Granted, Usyk, greatest amateur boxer at that weight class ever. I think it's going to be interesting, but I do think Jake Paul is in a good position.
The only fear is this.
I hate to give him credit.
If Jake Paul gets his block knocked off completely.
Yeah, very possible.
The Jake Paul experiment is it's a wrap. Because if you step into the ring, everybody thus far is wondering and has wondered, like, what would happen versus a legitimate boxer?
Yeah.
And in their relative shape. Not a 50-year-old Floyd.
Yeah.
Not a 60-year-old Mike. We've all asked ourselves, well, what happens if you fight a real fighter? The problem is, once you fight a real fighter and you get beat down, the hypothesis is gone. So now we don't need to wait to see the experiment. Y'all know what we do every year. We say the best college team could beat the worst NFL team.
Yeah,
and it's a fun debate.
Yeah.
Because if you don't really know ball, if you don't really know ball though, you'll be like, man, but if 10 players on Georgia would start for the Cleveland Browns right now. But if they actually...
Ade Oladipo explains that this is one of the biggest global fights, drawing massive attention across media platforms and boxing communities. Joshua's reputation gives the bout credibility, while Jake Paul's enormous popularity brings spectacle, marketing power, and worldwide excitement. Fans expect explosive action, potential knockouts, and intense drama. Oladipo highlights that Joshua's power and experience ensure that the fight cannot be treated as simple entertainment, it will be a high-stakes clash with real consequences. The mixture of star power, skill, and unpredictability has made this matchup one of the most discussed events in the sport today.
And this is, for Jake Paul, a much bigger fight than fighting Gervonta Davis. And I mean bigger, not just in the sense of who he's fighting and the size of AJ, I mean bigger in terms of numbers. Like Jake Paul versus AJ does way bigger numbers for me than Gervonta versus AJ. I think this actually does bigger numbers than Terence Crawford versus Canelo. I really do. I think this is, again, if it makes money, it makes sense. Let's talk about the negativity. And look, I get it. Like, if you're like me, I still believe, and look, some might say, well, AJ's just going to pick up, who knows what the numbers are, 80, 100 million, right? And then continue on his trajectory or career to potentially become a world champion again. I don't like this pause, if this is just me. I still believe that AJ can do damage in the heavyweight division. I believe that. Again, some people are like, no, he's done. Okay, cool. I believe that AJ can do damage again. I look at the heavyweight division and I remove Alexander Usyk from it, and I'm like, AJ can beat a lot of those guys. So I like the idea of AJ staying busy and having real fights against real heavyweights. So I'm not a fan of this pause, especially considering that we've not seen AJ in the ring since September 2024. It's a long time. It's a long time. So if AJ has this fight, we're not going to see AJ in the ring properly until the spring. A long time. If AJ was busy, and then had this fight in between, I guess I wouldn't be too mad with it. I get it, right? If someone knocks on your door and says, do you want to fight Jake Paul for 100 million? You're like, you'd be stupid to say no. No, I don't want that 100 million for what would be and will be. And
That's all for today's coverage. Stay tuned for more breakdowns and updates. Until next time.